Welcome to our program on Kardec Radio.
Hello, dear friends. Welcome to Kardec Radio and the Spirit Society of Virginia. We are here for another Friday inspirational talk. What a blessing, friends, to be here connected with one another. And it is a reminder for us that our Spirit Center is more open than ever because now we're bringing the Spirit Center to our homes. So now the Spirit mentors have even greater access to us, to our family members, to our home environment. So during this time, it's not only a time for us to be hearing and thinking that, oh, we're just there or here watching. They are giving us true treatments for all of us. So you might be asking, what is the ideal condition? Because we know it's a Friday evening, you might be there at home, the family members are there, and it's around dinner time. So what is the ideal environment? The ideal environment is that we treat this as if we were at the Spirit Center. So at the Spirit Center, we wouldn't be browsing the internet, we wouldn't be cooking dinner, we wouldn't be doing other things. We would sit there in an environment and listen properly, open our hearts. So that is the ideal environment, so that throughout the Spirit mentors, the guides, they can be there, they can be helping each and every one of us, because we are all here together. So now to start, we need a two-step verification process. Yes, it's like connecting to the Wi-Fi. First, we read an inspirational message so that we can forget about the worries of the day-to-day. We can raise our vibrations. We can enter in the vibrations of the mentors and the high spirits. And then we start with our initial prayer. So we're going to invite now our dear Camila that is here. So Camila can help us by reading our inspirational message of today. Right, Camila?
That's right, Daisy. Thank you so much. Hi, friends. Welcome. Tonight, we will read a message from the book, Our Daily Bread, by the Spirit Emmanuel and psychographed by Chico Xavier. Chapter 4, and the message is called Before Serving. In the company of the Spirit of Service, we will always be well watched over. All of creation reaffirms this truth with absolute clarity. From the lowest realms to the highest, all things serve in their own time. With its divisions and specialized tasks, the law of labor is present in the humblest elements of the diverse sectors of nature. For instance, this tree will cure illnesses, while that one will produce fruit. There are stones that contribute to the construction of homes, while others exist to pave roads. The Father has given his children their planetary home, where every object is in its proper place, merely awaiting the worthy effort and word of command to teach the individual the art of serving. If humans were given gunpowder for the release of energy, and if gunpowder continues to be used as an instrument of death against fellow beings, this is added to the depth of the users of the earthly dwelling, for in everything the Supreme Lord suggests the practice of the good, aiming at the elevation and enrichment of all the values of the universal patrimony. Let us not forget that Jesus was always working as he walked among us. Let us examine the nature of the Master's sacrificial cooperation and learn from him the happiness of faithfully serving. We can begin this very day. A hoe or a cooking pot is an excellent starting point. If you are infirm, your hands unable to collaborate directly, you can begin nonetheless by serving in the moral edification of your brothers and sisters. So, friends, let us finalize this message with Jesus' message. Just as the Son of Man has come out not to be served, but to serve. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Camila, for this inspiring message talking to all of us about the importance of service. So, friends, now, in order for us to put in practice, let us now start with our initial prayer, recapping that it is important that we're not just there repeating the words, but thinking about other things. What can we do to truly connect? It's a work group effort. We are there, we follow the lead word by word, but also thought by thought in intention of the heart. We know we all have our internal petition and requests, but now it's the time that we enter in this vibration together. So, shall we, friends? We're gonna then start putting some music for us. Let us close our eyes. Dear Master Jesus, what a blessing, dear Master, to be here, connected with you, with your messengers, the spirit mentors and guides who guide our lives. Dear Master, we know that we are given so much. First and foremost, you give us a blessed physical body, the opportunity to reincarnate, to start anew. But we know, dear Master, that we bring with us tendencies of the past. We bring with us what we've been carrying through many lives. Many things that we have already accomplished, but many that we have to work upon. Dear Master, open our hearts so that during these times tonight, we can open our minds and our hearts to feel your presence among us, to understand more about ourselves and the spirits that surround us, and consequently to understand more about our lives. Thank you, dear Master, for bringing us Spiritism. Through it, we know so much about ourselves, about our lives, and how we can change so we don't commit the same mistakes of the past. Dear Master, we also pray tonight that we are not the only ones receiving these blessings. We pray that the spirit doctors and mentors and therapists can use these moments in our homes to help those in both realms who are much greater need. We pray that they can feel your embrace. Those who are near and far, We pray especially for those who do not have the basic needs of life, a shelter, food, security, but most importantly, the food that nourishes our soul. Those that don't know about your love yet, that live life just as they are, one day after another. We pray that sooner rather than later they can find your love, because you love all of us equally. But it is on us to open our hearts and accept that this love shines through us today and always. And we then ask your permission, dear Master, and the mentors to open this meeting of tonight. And so be it. So friends, before we go to our main topic of tonight, and we have so much to learn, we're going to start first with our Spirits Books moment, an opportunity for us to study with Kardec himself. And our dear Luciana is here, and she's going to help us go through one more question, right, Lu, from our Spirits Book moment. Lu, you are muted.
So, as I was saying, it's so important for us to study those books. Kardec already knew everything that we needed and all the questions that we had in life. So he comes and have another question that will help us through life. And this is a scenario that's always happening and we can see around. So we are in the Spirits Book, Part 4, Chapter 1, Earthly Joys and Sorrow, Antipathetic Unions. So we already can think about, right? What does it mean? And Kardec, in this question, comes and asks, since sympathetic spirits are led to meet one another, why is that among incarnate spirits, affections is frequently only one-sided and sincere love is received with indifference or even repulsion? Moreover, can the liveliest affections between two persons turn into dislike and sometimes hatred? So this question that Kardec asked the spirits is something that we see happening on our daily basis, right? So we already asked, Kardec asked, and we still see the fruits, right? What is happening on planet Earth. We are still not understanding this question and not able to change the scenario on the planet Earth. But the spirits come and tell us more about this question. So they come and ask even more, right? Can't you understand that this may be a punishment, albeit a passing one? Besides, how many are there who think they are deeply in love because they only judge physical appearance? But when obliged to live together, they soon realize their judgment had only been based on physical passion. Isn't that what happens in the planet Earth? A lot of people get together, wants to get married, and have that illusion and thinking that the only thing we need to go after someone is how they look and see how they can provide to them. And the spirits here is telling us, right? This is what really happened, questioning us even more. And we know what is happening, right? Is it not enough to be enabled with someone who pleases you and whom you're supposed to be endowed with beautiful qualities? Is it only by living together that you can appreciate each other? So we know when we are dating, when we are together, and we are in this phase that the beginning of a relationship, everything seems wonderful. And the Spirit's here telling us the only way we will know someone is when we are living together, when we are actually doing things together, being part of one thing, having one goal, right? Because when we are under the same roof, is how and when we can actually see people the way they are. Because many people date and they are apparently, right? We say a lot about masks. People wear a lot of masks, and sometimes in the beginning of the relationship, people are wearing masks, and when they come and live together, the mask we cannot support and tolerate the mask to be on for a long time, right? It's only a period of time that the mask can come up. So the Spirit's telling us the only way is when we live together and we can see what happened. And it continues. On the other hand, how many unions there are that at first seem to be incompatible, but with in time, as both get to know each other better, are transformed into tender and lasting love because it is founded on mutual esteem. You must not forget that it is the Spirit who loves and not the body, and that once the physical illusion dissipates, the Spirit sees reality. So we need to have those relationships with the Spirit, not only with the appearance. We need to see what really touch people's heart, right? So we can actually have a better relationship. And of course, we cannot judge. We are in a planet of trial and expiation, and it's very hard to have a relationship that is perfect. It actually does not belong to this planet yet. We are marching towards to get a place, to get in this planet where things will be better. So the spirits and Kardec are bringing us this enlightenment. And if we study, if we analyze the relationships that we have with people, this will facilitate us how to choose, because we need to learn how to really love the soul, love the moral teachings, right? Or qualities that the person has, not what they have physically or how they appear physically, because this will perish. This they can lose, right? The material things people can lose. But once we learn and make this connection soul to soul and really love, then we'll be able to be in a relationship that will be lasting. And the spirits continue. They always want to help us very, very much. There are two kinds of affection, the one of the body and the one of the soul. And these are often mistaken for each other. When pure and sympathetic, the affection when yeah, when pure and sympathetic, the affection of the soul is lasting. The affection of the body is perishable. That is why those who believe they love each other with an eternal love often ended up detesting each other when the illusion has vanished. So we need to meditate on that, no judging the relationships that we have in this planet, because we are progressing there. But for us that already has these books, that has Kardec asking the spirits, and the spirits so kindly bringing the teachings, bringing this pathway to us, we need to take the advantage, right? We are ahead. We have a manual that can guide us to help us to better make choices in our life and hurt less. And remember, everything is based on love. So if we're able to love heart to heart, feel the soul, nourishing our soul's needs, will be most like succeeding in our relationship. For now, we just need to learn who we are as immortal beings, learn our faults, learn what we need to fix on us. So when we do that, we will be able to flourish and also find and attract those people, those souls that are loving and really wants to connect to us. So there's a lot in the book to teach us, even about love, about not love, not getting together. So it's important for us to join forces and go and read more and more about Kardec, about all the teachings that we have.
Thank you so much, Lou, for bringing us this important message and a lot of food for thought, friends. So remember, this is just a teaser for us. So you can go there to the Spirit's book, to Kardec's all the collection through Kardec, André Luiz, Emmanuel to learn more. So tonight, friends, we will be discussing such an important topic: identifying spirits. In Spiritism, we talk a lot about spirits, but how can we identify? How can we know what type of spirits are talking through the mediums, the messages, those that come and whisper in our ears? So, is there a way we can identify them? We might be asking, well, Kardec, in the Medium's book, chapter 24, there is a whole chapter that discuss what are the things that we ourselves can use, how we can use our discernment to really identify the spirits. And then, of course, through Chico Xavier, many others, but Emmanuel, André Luiz, bring us so much richness. Is there a specific language that they use, a type of language? Well, we have many questions, but our dear Carol Correia is here, and Carol is gonna help us go through this and answer all these questions and much more, right, Carol?
Yes, right, Daisy. Thank goodness we have Kardec to count on. So Lou already inspired us with the Spirit's Book moment, and now we shall continue with Kardec. Thank you, Daisy, so much. Yes, so dear friends, tonight we are going to focus our attention on how to identify discarnate spirits. Often we wonder, as our dear Daisy has said, how to know which spirits may be surrounding us, how to know when we listen to a message mediumistically whom it may belong to, how to know whether we should trust a particular message or not. So tonight we are going to go back to the basis again one more time and look at Kardec and understand the method Kardec developed. Then we shall go to Emmanuel, who expands the classification of spirits, knowing that Spiritism is a progressive science. And lastly, we shall count on André Luiz to show us how these lenses that Kardec has developed can be put to use in practice. So let us begin our journey tonight, dear friends. We are then going to begin with Kardec, identifying how to identify spirits. Then we are going to move to a special message by Emmanuel in the Medium's Harvest. So we identify how to class spirits, and then we are going to see how to identify spirits one more time in practice with the help of Andre Lewis in the book In the Realms of Mediumship. So we can go to the next slide. So here, dear friends, we see the method that Kardec developed and experimented with, and therefore documented as well in the Medium's book. Kardec asks, by what signs can we recognize high order and low order spirits? If we have begun interesting ourselves in the true life, life after life, we may wonder that very question ourselves. Do we have an answer? Thanks to Kardec and the mediums at his time, we certainly do. Let us hear directly from the mentor spirits. Their answer is succinct and very clear to us. They say that we can identify high order or low order spirits by their language, just as you would distinguish between a scatterbrain and a sensible person. High order spirits never contradict one another, and they only address worthy matters. So let us build a mental checklist for ourselves, taking what Kardec is asking us into consideration. When we read messages or hear messages from spirits, or when we receive an inspiration, are those messages intuitively received or not, guiding us, pushing us to greater progress? Are those messages inviting us to serve more? Are those messages inviting us to learn to be useful to others, as our dear Camila reminded us with the initial message? Are those messages inspiring us to acquire Christ's and virtues? These are items that we can put on our checklist. If the answer is yes, then most definitely the message comes from a high order spirit. But if the message invites us to stay in our comfort zone, then we're not quite there yet. In the book Liberation by Andre Lewis, we see an example of such a message. We see the Scarlet spirit who did not an incarnate soul to free herself from his domination, and he, the Scarlet spirit, inspired a medium to tell her to stay just as she was because her case, quote unquote, did not have any solution. Therefore, from that, we can conclude that the lower order spirits tend to encourage us to stay just as we are. And as we are going to learn with Emmanuel in a moment, they can also instigate our pride, make us feel highly, think highly of ourselves, so that we feel as though, through a false sense of superiority, as though we don't need to change to progress. So we need, as Kardec is inviting us to do, analyze the messages, the spirit's language and intention. Let us keep this in mind tonight. And this question, which we just referred, dear friends, come from the Medium's book, chapter 24, item 268. Let us then continue with Emmanuel. Emmanuel is going to expand upon the science that Kardec codified for us by explaining us the three types of spirits that are most common on the earth. That's why he entitles this message Three Attitudes. And we can find Emmanuel's dissertation in the book The Medium's Harvest, chapter or message 15. And our dear Vanessa Anceloni has studied this book chapter by chapter on Kardec. So should we be interested, we have this additional resource. So let us hear from Emmanuel as he expands upon Kardec's method, inviting us to look deeper into how we may identify particular spirits. This message, dear friends, is very detailed. For tonight, the mentors have invited us to focus on one particular segment, one that can inspire much food for thought. So Emmanuel tells us, in society, we may identify three types of spirits. They are, according to Emmanuel, the selfish, who do whatever they want. We may see this, dear friends, at home when we have a loved one, a family member, who believes that they can dictate all the rules. For instance, the dinner has to be exactly as they wish. The home has to be crystal spotty clear the way that they wish. If it's not the way they wish, they will complain. If their child doesn't speak to them in a certain tone of voice, using particular words at a particular time, that child may not receive affection. If their companion does not say exactly what they expect when they expect, that person may give them the silent treatment because they don't feel as though they should make an effort to reach out. When we are in the selfish mode, we feel as though others need to come to us. For instance, when we are asked to help someone else with an additional task, we may also say to ourselves, oh no, this is not for us. We are not being paid to do this. This is outside of the realm of our jobs. No, not now. We don't have time for this. It is when a friend calls and says, could you assist us with this project? We are having a hard time understanding what to do. And we say, oh, maybe later, not now, because now we have other items on our agenda. This is when, dear friends, we ourselves as incarnate souls show that we still suffer from the dis-ease of selfishness. We are bringing about these daily examples so that we can identify ourselves as well. This classification is not only for the discarnate spirits, but for all of us. In terms of the discarnate spirits, if we receive an intuition or hear them say, oh, you're doing too much, you should stop doing so much work, you need to rest, you have done a lot, we better believe that we are connecting with selfish minds, because we can connect easily. We don't even need a password to connect to the Wi-Fi of the other side of life. All we need is a feeling, a thought, and an intention. So for instance, if we are called to do volunteer work, to serve at a center, or to serve our own family members. When a child comes to us and says, "Mommy, Daddy, look at me. Can I show you what I have done? Mommy, Daddy, can you come with me?" And we say, "Oh no, can't you understand that we are busy, that we are paying the bills, that we have done too much for today? Give us a break." How many times the spirit mentors guide us, bring to us others who need support, and what we say is we need a break. If we are constantly thinking we need a break, if we are constantly thinking of action, then we are most certainly connecting with Emmanuel's classification of selfish spirits. And because our thoughts are magnetic in nature, dear friends, and electric in nature as well, they pulsate and they attract other minds that think alike. Then we may find ourselves in a mono idea, mono idea meaning single idea. If we are in that mode, all we think about is we need a break, we need a break, we need a break, we need a break, we are doing too much, we need a break, we need a break, we need a break. And before we know it, we are blind to those whom we promised to help before reincarnating. So Emmanuel's call for us in the three attitudes is very important. Not only to identify the Scarlet spirits whom we may be connecting to, but also so that we can recalibrate ourselves needed to aim higher in the purposes of our existence, because we most certainly did not reincarnate to do whatever we want. Our goal in this life is to do what God wants, because we have spent many lifetimes thinking about God. So if we want to connect to spirits that are highly elevated, starting with the example of our own master, we then need to ask every day, God, what do you want for us to do? What is in your to-do list, dear God? Please guide us. This is how we connect with spirits that are highly elevated. Let us begin with Emmanuel's second classification of attitudes that help us identify the scarlet spirits and incarnate friends as well. Emmanuel says, the proud act however they want. Emmanuel uses very succinct but strong words. It is when a family member asks us for help. Could be something very simple as setting the table for dinner. And we say, no, we don't want to do it this way. We know a better way. Let us show you a better way. We are going to show you the better way. No, we disagree with you. Let us do it our way. How many times during a 24-hour period do we have the impulse of thinking, oh, if only this one did what we knew, what we think is best, they would be better off. If only we could tell them what to do. How many times do we have this impulse? If only we could tell them what to do, because we have the solution, because we know best, because we. So this is when we attune ourselves vibrationally with legion, the scarlet spirits who are also caught in the cycle of doing things however they want because they know best. They haven't yet accepted that God is the one in command, not themselves. So let us continue because Emmanuel is helping us to understand our own dynamics as spirits in progress. Emmanuel then brings the third attitude for our attention, to our attention. Emmanuel says, the good do as much as they can, going beyond their own duties. So when we have good intentions, we know that when we have a God-centered mind, we know that we didn't reincarnate to be on a vacation. We know that we reincarnated to help, to learn, and to love one another. So we are constantly seeking for opportunities to help. This is when, even though we may be physically tired, we take the time to organize our home beautifully so that everyone entering there feels loved. This is when a child comes to us and says, I need you. Even if we're tired, we will stop what we're doing and help. This is when the phone rings and someone says, oh, we need groceries right now and our car broke down. We don't know what to do. Can you give us a suggestion? And we right away help. It is when someone asks for our professional advice and we don't wait 3 weeks to help. We help right away. Let us think of Chico Xavier, for example. He was constantly on the go for the good. He spent, dear friends, we learn through Geraldo Lemos Neto, he spent every Sunday writing letters by hand to everyone who asked for support from 1 p.m. to 7 a.m. 1 p.m. Sunday to 7 a.m. Monday. This is someone who is doing the good as much as they can, going beyond their duties. He didn't have to handwrite letters to everyone, but he chose to. So what are we doing to go beyond the duties that society recognizes? Even when we wash the dishes, we can go beyond this, for instance. We can do it on automatic mode, or we can say, thank God that we have hands. Thank God we have water. Thank God we have soap. Thank God we can be of use, because there are people who want to do this and they can't. So this is when we attune with higher level spirits. When we get out of the me, mine mode and choose to log in onto the theirs mode. How can I help others? This is how we guarantee our spiritual security. This is how we guarantee that the intuitions we receive come from higher spirits. And because they will push us to work more. They will never say, take a rest. Yes, we agree you are doing too much. Take a rest. No, they'll say, work more, do more. And they will give us intuition to do more, always. Because our Creator, Mother, Father, God never stops. Why should we? So if we want to identify with higher order spirits, the secret, according to Emmanuel, is to do the good as much as we can, going beyond the call of duty. We remember the true account of our dear Divaldo Franco, who was influenced by a discarnate spirit for 30 years. 30 years. One more time. We heard it right. 3 decades. And the spirit insisted to take revenge on Divaldo because of previous lives for 30 years. When one night he received a little bit at the mention of the way, and he was exhausted. He no longer had room available there. He didn't know what he was going to do with that child. But even so, he expanded his heart and he said, I accept. I will take this child. And the discarnate spirit, avenging spirit, said, do you love this child? And Divaldo truthfully responded, I don't yet, but I will. This is when the avenging spirit, who had connected with Divaldo for 3 decades, looked at him and said, you have changed. And now the same spirit accompanies Divaldo in his tasks of spreading love and hope. So when we choose, dear friends, to do the good, not only are we connecting with spirits who count on us, but also we are helping the spirits who suffer because of our own choices from this life or previous lives. So we thank Emmanuel for this classification that helps us to identify whom may be in our network and whom we may be attracting. Let us continue then now with Andre Lewis. Andre Lewis in the realms of mediumship brings us 3 case studies, 3 real-life accounts that show us communicating discarnate spirits in a serious mediumistic meeting, which Andre Lewis was accompanying, observing, collecting data, and studying. And it is the result of his data collection that we are to bring to our attention tonight. So thank you, Andre Lewis, for the beautiful scientific work that you do. And we are going to bring 3 cases that Andre Lewis has documented to shed even more light as to how we may identify spirits. So the first case that we would like to bring to our attention, as reported by Andre Lewis, is the case of Liborio. Liborio comes, dear friends, to the mediumistic meeting complaining, feeling self-pity. So here is a mental note we can make to ourselves. Self-pity is not a quality that higher order spirits tend to identify with. Because when we feel like a victim, as Liborio has, we take responsibility for our actions. If we don't take responsibility for our actions, we don't progress. And thus, we connect with lower order spirits who do not wish to progress either. This is the case of Liborio. He came complaining, not understanding why he was brought to the mediumistic meeting. And then, through the help of the higher order spirits, through a magnetic TV like us, he was able to remember that he neglected his own mother in her dying bed in order to go out and please his own senses. So according to Emmanuel's classification, this would be a selfish spirit. Why do we say that? Because Emmanuel explains to us that a selfish spirit is one that does in the way that they want. So his mother was asking for help. Help me, stay with me, I need your support. And he, Liborio, still chose to go out and about and do exactly what he wanted to do. He engaged in addictions, feeding his own pleasures, and he discarnated as well. When he realizes that his selfish act led to his mother discarnating his own, he regrets his choice, and his own mother comes to his rescue in a beautiful act of love. But going back to Emmanuel, how do we identify this spirit? Selfish. Why? He chose to do whatever he wanted. How about Kardec's method? What was his language? According to André Lewis, his language was a language of self-pity, of victimization. Oh, why this has happened to us? Very self-centered. So we have two reasons to classify Liborio as a selfish spirit. But God is so merciful that no one is left forsaken. He was rescued right there in that mediumistic meeting. This is why mediumship with Jesus, dear friends, is beautiful, because it's a form of charity that the world yet understand, but that is sacred in the eyes of God when we are able to help those whom we don't even see with the physical eyes. Let us continue then to the second case study that André Lewis brings to us. André Lewis describes another mediumistic communication in which we see a slave master. As the picture shows, beloved friends, he was so imprisoned by his own feelings and thoughts that even though he had discarnated more than a century before this meeting, he was still holding on to the whip through which he hurt his servants. And he came through the medium in the group saying, cowards, cowards, cowards deserve to be punished. We are not going to be merciful. Don't ask us to be merciful. They deserve to be punished. So we see that he still felt, even though more than a century had passed, he still felt superior to his fellow brothers and sisters. This is therefore an example of a proud spirit. His language is one that shows his materialistic interests. He believed himself to be noble, to be superior. So according to Kardec, he is not a highly evolved spirit because his language shows materialistic interests. And according to Emmanuel, he is not a highly evolved spirit because he only wants to do things his way, a proud spirit. So mental checklist for us. Whenever we ourselves decide we are the ultimate rulers and that things have to always go our way, we are connecting with this type of spirits as well. So let us attend to our thoughts and feelings because they are the connection that we build to the other life. Let us continue to our third case, dear friends. The third communication that Andre Lewis reports to us is a communication, a loving spirit whose light was so beautiful that it enlightened the room spiritually. But let us use Kardec's test, the language that the spirit uses. Andre Lewis tells us, reports the language directly. And in reporting the language directly, Andre Lewis says that the spirit mentions, dear friends, we cannot incarnate and discarnate without focusing on our transformation. We have reincarnated to transform our own tendencies. Please work on your thoughts and feelings, says the Spirit, so that you may progress. So we see, according to Kardec's test, that this is a highly evolved spirit. Even if we are not ostensible mediums and are able to literally see the light, language, we already know this is likely a highly evolved spirit. Why? Because the spirit is inviting us to progress, to get out of the comfort zone, to remind us that we are reincarnated to be useful. And according to Emmanuel, this is a spirit who likely chooses to do the good beyond the call of duty. Imagine spirits from the highest coming to us specifically to deliver a transformative message. This is food for the soul that we will take from immortality, truly a worthwhile purpose. So we see here the parallel between Emmanuel and Andre Lewis. Highly evolved spirits repeat the message to us so we can learn together. So we had an example of a selfish spirit, proud and good spirit. Now that we have had much food for thought, let us think about ourselves for a moment. We can move to the next slide. Let us think, now that we have had Kardec's, Emmanuel, and Andre Lewis's support, let us think about ourselves. Because we are incarnated, but once we leave this body, we will be spirits, immortals no matter what. We will always be immortal spirits no matter what. So where do we find ourselves? How would we classify ourselves as spirits? Let us go back to Emmanuel and Kardec and think together. If in the majority of our days we think, oh, it's either our way or the highway, things have to be the way we want or else, then we are mostly in the frequency of selfishness. If we tend to believe in our relationships that we should have the last word, that people need to listen to us, that we have the advice they need. If they only knew what we know, their lives would change forever. If the tone in our relationships are like this, then for the moment, dear friend, we are tuning in the frequency of proud spirits. But oh, Carol, we want to change. Yes, dear friends, we here do too. So how to shift if we find ourselves at that end of the spectrum, how to go to the other end? The secret is, how much time do we spend being useful to others? It is when we think about being useful to others that we change our own frequency. So as Mentor Joseph, through Vanessa, together with Vanessa, has taught all of us, we can do the math of the good. We can put on a piece of paper how much time, literally, do we spend thinking of others and serving others, helping others in a given week. If we go one hour to the Spirit Center, is that enough? How about in our other contexts? What do we do to be of help? Let us put it on paper and mathematically find out what our divine accounting would result into, because that number will give us a statistical measure of where we are in this reincarnation and how we can continue to, as Master Jesus proposed to Nicodemus, dear friends, it is very important for us to feel the scriptures, to bring what we learn close to our lives. So let us do the math of the good and remember that it is only by being of good use to others, sometimes the ones that are the closest to us, that we will be able to progress. But remember, Emmanuel has told us, it is not enough to do the good in accordance to what society already applauds or in accordance to what is written in a job contract. According to Emmanuel, we must go beyond the call of duty. So if someone asked for 5 minutes of our time, we will give 20. Why, Carol? Are you crazy? Yes, we may be, but in the eyes of God, we are winners because this is what we have reincarnated to do. And to be inspired, dear friends, of course, we have to go to our one and only guide and model, Master Jesus. He is the one who has taught all of us and continue to teach us the true purpose of our incarnation. And he is the one who taught us the alphabet of love through which we can identify with him, being his current of thought. Why not? Carol, Master Jesus doesn't know us. Come on, Carol. We're not apostles. No, Master Jesus knows us by name. If we are discussing Spiritism in English at this time, it is because Master Jesus has called us. We are the ones that sometimes forget. So let us look at our model, be inspired by our model, read about our model's life through Humberto de Campos, through the many books psychographed by Chico Xavier, and be inspired about how to speak the good, how to listen for the good, how to think for the good, how to act for the good. In this way, we are going to practice the good invariably and therefore progress. Kardec has told us that we can set the pace to our own progress. It is up to us how much we would like to do to be in the frequency of our Divine Master. The invitation is there. His arms are wide open and he is waiting for us. And now, to solidify our connection with the Master and of course with God all the more, we invite our dear Paloma to do our passes and prayer moment.
Thank you, Carol. In keeping this beautiful image of our Master Jesus, let us together, friends, mentalize him, visualize him. He is our guide and model. He is the best interpretation of everything we talk here. He came to our planet to teach us. So let us visualize him during this prayer. Dear Divine Master, first of all, we want to express our gratitude for the session of tonight, for Allan Kardec and his diligence in studying the spirits, in teaching us how to use critical thinking to analyze communication, teaching us that believing is more than just accepting things that come our way. We need to reason it. We need to think about it. Thank you, Divine Master, for Kardec Radio and this beautiful platform that allows us to be connected all over the world, for bringing all these English speakers together, for aligning us with the works with the good, and making sure that we understand that we have a part in this. We also want to thank you for sending the spirit doctors and nurses that have visited us tonight in our homes, that treated us, that gave us the medicine that we need. We know, dear Master, that true healing comes from within. As long as we have open hearts and open minds to allow this treatment to take place, we will find that we have everything we need at this very moment. And as we feel, Master, so blessed for everything that we have received, we would like to pray and share these blessings with people that are in need at this very moment. Visualizing hospitals, shelters, refugee camps, homeless people, sick people. We pray for everyone that they are consoled by you and your team, that they receive healing light to help them go through this very moment. And the most important, that they keep hope and faith in their heart, as we know the future is only happiness. We thank you, Master, for this reincarnation, for leading us this way, and for inspiring us to always do more. And with that, we ask for your permission and under your protection to close the meeting of tonight, and so be it.
Thank you, Paloma. Thank you, Carol, Luciana, Camila, and thank you all of you friends for joining us here tonight. As we discuss tonight, as we get to know more about these teachings, it's important for us to feel. As Carol reminds us, Jesus told Nicodemus, let us feel it. Let us bring it to our hearts, because we're so easy to look at people and put them into categories, and say, oh, that person and that person, but all of us, right? We don't have the power to change other friends, but we can change each and every one of us. So let us reflect on the message tonight, and not looking at us to feel guilt, but looking at us to be able to go there and readdress and be able to really and truly learn and then apply in our lives. So, to continue this treatment tonight, friends, we ask, the mentors ask, that we take it easy tonight. It is a treatment. So let us be careful for the conversations that we have, to what anything that we're watching on social media, on the TV. And let us ask when we go to sleep that we can continue the treatment throughout the evening tonight. Thank you, all the friends that we see here, many, many wonderful friends. And if you are in the Washington, D.C. area, a reminder for you that tomorrow at 11 a.m. we'll be at the Spirit Society of Virginia's parking lot for our Gospel Under the Pine Tree. And we're just starting a new campaign, a back to school drive. Yes, we're collecting, friends, materials for children in need. We soon will be starting the school year in the fall. So there is a list. You can visit our website, ssvirginia.org, or visit our page on Facebook. There's a list there that you can see. So we will be collecting those materials from now until the beginning of the school year. So we hope we'll see some of you tomorrow, but if not, friends, have a beautiful evening. Feel our embrace, our hug, and we'll see you next Friday here for another Friday Inspirational Talk. Have a great evening, friends. Bye-bye.